If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
All right, we have Thomas Gifford on the program. He returns to action next Saturday in Tampa, Florida, and will face the debuting Brok Weaver. Thomas, how are you, man?
Oh, doing good. Just got it back to Arkansas.
Excellent. So I guess my first question is a question everybody wants to know. Do you believe that you have the best hair in the UFC right now?
Oh, definitely.
I would agree.
Theodore I think he got cut, so I don't have any more competition. People say Brian Ortega, but he always has his hair slicked back. He don't like to show it off.
So it's you, whether it's by default or not, it's you at the top of the heap right now.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely taking that belt.
Well, as you head towards another belt, your second UFC fight is upon you. We're a little over a week away from this fight in Tampa. How's everything been going in preparation for this one?
It's been going excellent. I've been working hard for the last 5 months just to get my game, get on that UFC level, and I feel like I've been working with the best in the business. Mark Montoya is. He's a dream worker, and I'm fixing to accomplish my dream next week.
You took on Roosevelt Roberts in your UFC debut, and the fight didn't go your way, but you definitely had your moments in that fight. You took it on short notice, and you went to Fort Lauderdale, and you did the best you could. You always take something away from every single fight that you're in, whether you win or lose. What did you take away from that fight in terms of learning, growing, knowledge, etc.?
The first part of it is the emotions that come with being in that top level. I didn't think it would be that big of a deal, but it really did. I wasn't even thinking about the fight when Bruce Buffer was calling out my name. I was thinking, oh, man, that's Bruce Buffer. He's calling out my name. But now I take out of that it's in the past now. I've been through there. I've had my first fight. It's time to do business and get a win. Like, there's nothing I wanted more than a win. And I went out there and I didn't do my thing like I was supposed to do. I didn't put my hands together, didn't put my feet together. I had tunnel vision, but I took away from that. As soon as I got back to Colorado, I started working on my focus and how my mind works. Instead of getting in that tunnel vision, I got to be aware of my surroundings. I got to be focused on what I'm doing. They say not to think, just to react, but that's totally the opposite. You need to think. You got to set stuff up. And that's mostly what I took out of it. I wasn't setting nothing up. I was going straight forward. I was going straight back. I didn't try to get up because I wasn't worried about being submitted. I wasn't worried about him beating the crap out of me like he was. I was just focused on getting my submission and getting that win. But now I got my mindset like I need to set things up. I got to win every round. I can't lose this fight. There's no way I'm going to lose this fight.
Did you have to do anything different this camp to kind of prepare yourself for that stuff mentally? I know some fighters will do some different things to try to, act like they're in the moment, act like they're in the fight. Did you do anything differently this time around as opposed to what you did for the first UFC fight?
Oh, definitely. We have multiple UFC fighters in our gym at Factory X. And the main thing was to go and talk to them, get into in-depth conversation about how their fights went, how they overcome adversity. I mean, Court McGee is fixing to have his 20th fight in the UFC October 18th, and he is a legend. I mean, he's a great wrestler, great striker, great kicker. I mean, he's all around one of the best guys ever, and when you meet him, he's the most down-to-earth, genuine guy, and he'll straight up help you no matter what. He'll help his opponent if it was asked of him, He's that good of a guy, and just being aware of what them guys are going through and knowing how they overcome it and what they did, it helps me a lot and makes me feel like more of a veteran in the UFC than most people.
After talking with a guy like that and, knowing his story, what it took to get him to where he's at right now, the adversity he's overcome in his life, how motivating is that for you to share the gym, share the room with him, and be able to kind of pick his brain to learn all these different things?
It shoots your confidence way up the roof because, I mean, you see him in the fights, you see how he's come through, and then when you have those sparring rounds with him, or when you grapple with him and you feel like, man, this is what I need to be like, this is what I have to do. And then it was last night, I asked him tons of questions on my wrestling and my takedowns and my get up because one of the most phenomenal wrestlers and that can hold me down. And most people don't hold me down. I'm real wiry, as you've seen in my last fight. It's really hard, but he has a good way of controlling me. And now I picked his brain just a little bit this whole week, and last week we really went over it hard. And I think I'm prepared, and being there and talking with him makes me more prepared than any fighter that I know.
Next weekend, you take on Brok Weaver, a guy kind of like your last opponent who has a ton of buzz coming into this fight off of Dana White's Contender Series. He has quite a personality indeed, and a lot of people, talking about him right now. How excited are you to see his name on that contract, knowing the buzz that he has right now?
It's actually kind of crazy. I think of me and Brok kind of as the same people. He started off in a low town with nobody, and he's in his backyard grinding. He's out in the heat of the day running. He's up running hills. I mean, he's pretty much a backyard brawler like I was back in the day. I love to get in brawls, Everybody's like, move your head, don't get hit, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. If you don't knock me out, I'm going to keep coming. And that's the exact same way he is. And, I mean, I feel like our traits are kind of alike, just he's left-handed and I'm right-handed. So it's going to be a great clash. I love seeing somebody who wants to brawl with me. I hope he don't take me down after I beat him up, but as everybody knows, once I start landing punches, they're going to take me down.
Did you know much about him before the name was offered to you and before he's on the Contender Series? Because, considering where you guys are at most of the time in the country where you guys grew up and, where you were to get to this point, I'm not sure if you guys have crossed paths at all over the years.
It's actually kind of crazy. I'm friends with Tyler Hill and Brandon Davis, and they're real big buddies with him. They train with them and they help him out. And I seen him on a couple of their videos, and Tyler Hill actually fought him for Florida Island fights. And I've been a big fan of the Florida Island fights because they're on UFC Fight Pass. So ever since I got UFC Fight Pass with the UFC, I've been watching all their fights. So, yeah, I've seen him. I've watched him. And plus, he fought Crazy Horse. Who ain't going to watch a video of Crazy Horse fighting a guy, I mean, that was a crazy fight. It was Crazy Horse versus another Crazy Horse. They were wild, crazy, back and forth in that fight, and they were banging. And there was a couple times I thought Brok had that submission, but Crazy Horse bent his arm and got out, But, yeah, it's going to be a great fight. I really look forward to fighting a brawler and somebody who's come up just like I have.
Do you appreciate a guy like that, not just because of his style and the way he fights, but he does do a lot of talking in there as well? Do you like that style in terms of who you're going to be sharing the cage with?
Yeah, definitely. I like his confidence and the way he speaks about God. It's kind of like we're the same person, but in two different states. I had my come up in April. He's having his come up now. I mean, I understand what he's going through, but he's not going to get past me.
I'm not a fighter, and I'm certainly not you. I have way less hair than you, but one would assume that you're being a little bit overlooked in this fight, like that some people believe that you're quote-unquote the setup fight for Brok to kind of shoot him off to the stars. With that, you're presented with an opportunity to disappoint a lot of people here, have a lot of eyeballs on you at the same time while you can potentially do it. I mean, you guys are the featured fight on the card at the end of the day. Do you feel like you're being overlooked here? And if so, how do you react to that?
I'm used to it, actually. Like, I've been the underdog everywhere. If you go and look at my record, I fought in Arkansas maybe 5 or 6 times, and then I was going state to state. I was beating everybody in their hometown. I was going to their home and smashing them. And, I mean, it's just like his home. Alabama and Florida are real close, and, I mean, he feels at home. He's got a big thing on the Contender Series, but I've been through this. I've been through the hype. I mean, Roosevelt Roberts put through the hype, and he beat me. Congrats to him, but it's not happening twice. I will not let it happen.
Do you feel like all the pressure is on him for this fight, considering the hype behind him?
Not really, because I got one loss in the UFC, and if I lose again, most likely I'm being cut. But that's another reason for me to be motivated, and it puts half the pressure on me because he knows he's the hype man. I mean, he talks about it. He loves being the hype guy. He loves it. But he's also fought for the same promotion a bunch of times. He ain't been around the world fighting all these high-level fighters.
That
gives me a little bit of the advantage.
I was just going to say, is that experience sort of the catalyst here? Like, if there's one thing you're going to bring to the table that, despite Brok being as loose as a goose in there, he's just not going to have any answer for it. Do you think the experience is is sort of that catalyst here, or is there something else that he's just not going to be ready for?
It's a little bit of both, because he's looked at all my last fights, and being at Factory X, my fighter IQ has went way up to what it used to be. Like, I used to get in there and be like, okay, establish the jab, hit him hard and hit him fast. Don't let him take you down. Land your punches. But now I'm going to be setting up shots. I'm going to be feinting. I'm going to be clicking. He's going to react to something, and he's going to get hit with something. He's going to think I'm going to throw something, but I'm really not. It's really going to be more of a mind game for him, because he's going to be like, man, what is this kid doing? He's not fighting like he used to. He's not fighting like I prepared for.
At the end of the day, I have a feeling, especially just listening to you, I get some goosebumps right now. Do you feel like, 50,000's coming your way? Maybe even 100,000 at this point. I have a hard time believing that the way you're talking, this one's not going to be in the conversation for the fight of the night. Fair of me to say?
Oh, yeah, definitely. He's going to bring the fight. I'm going to bring the fight. And I wanted the 50K last time. But this time, I know I'm going to get it, because I'm not going to let him do anything to me but me dominating him. I'm going to be like Luis Pena. Like you said in Ultimate Fighter, from bell to bell, I'm going to dominate. I
like it, man. How do you see it all ending? When you close your eyes and visualize it, how does it all play out?
I see him dropping to the floor and scrambling, and then getting a couple shots and ducking his head low, and I end up sucking up that guillotine.
I have to ask you, being a Factory X guy, this is sort of a question I've asked to a lot of these guys. Were you a part of the Ian Heinisch versus Devontae Smith birthday slap fest? Because those two guys, were you in the room for both of those?
Oh, yeah. I got to slap both of their stomachs. I was being a little bit nice, and I wasn't making a big deal, because I got a big hand, and it's going to make a welt. But I know that when my birthday comes up, I don't want them to do what they were doing.
Do you feel like Devontae was justified in getting his revenge?
Oh, yeah, definitely. He was. It's crazy. When you do something to Devontae, you're on his blacklist. And when he put you on the blacklist, you're going to get it. He was walking around with lotion in his hand because he forgot the baby oil for probably about 2 to 3 minutes. Like, come on, y'all, hurry up and get in. Hurry up and get in. He was just waiting on it. He was setting it up.
That was amazing, because I interviewed him, and he was like, I'm going to practice today. I'm going to get him back. I'm like, please videotape that and send it to me. And he put it on Instagram. It was the greatest thing ever. I got to ask, who was the woman who hit Devontae? Someone went in there and walloped him real good. And I was like, she hit him harder than Ian did.
Most likely, it was, probably Kat.
Okay.
The manager there, Yusuf Zahal's girlfriend.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. I appreciate the time, man. I know you got a big fight coming up in a little over a week's time against Brok Weaver. I can't wait for this fight. It's going to be a phenomenal matchup between you guys. Before we let you go, let the folks know where they can find and follow you on the web, social media, any shout-outs, anything else you want to get off your chest. The floor is yours.
All right. First of all, thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, he's the only reason why I'm here. He's the only reason why I'm doing it, to spread his word, to do everything. And you can follow me on Facebook, Thomas the Young Lion Gifford. And then you can follow me on Instagram, Thomas_Gifford_MMA. And then, what are you saying? And then Twitter is the Young Lion MMA.
All right, man. We are very excited for this fight. Looking forward to it as you defend your hair title throughout these years to get ready for a UFC title. So I appreciate the time. Looking forward to this fight, and all the best to you.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.